Good afternoon and welcome back to the studio. I'm David Austin with DavidAustinGallery.com and my lovely wife, tech guru, genius behind the camera is Kristen. The green, bright green hair, emerald hair. We love it. And so anyway, we're going to do more watercolor madness today because I'm still set up for it. I've had a lot of fun playing with the watercolor. This is what some of the things that we did last week during the show. So we're going to kind of continue playing with this today. One of the things I went in and I did some charcoal, white charcoal work and other pastel work and acrylic markers over the top of this piece. And so that was one from last week. You check last week's show and see that. There's a little more botanical feeling sort of thing right here. And the heater just went on. Of course. Forgot about the heater going. And anyway, and here's another one. Actually, no, I did that after the show. So this is a fun one. A lot of heavy watercolor on that one. And then this one right here. Check that out. So that's kind of what we're working towards today. So I'm going to stick with some kind of botanical feeling type things because of the fact that, it's kind of like spring. It's like spring today, isn't it? A little bit?
Yeah, definitely.
A little bit like spring. It's a little. So I've got some Ecoline Dual Tip markers right here. This is a watercolor marker. It's a dye-based marker. And I'm just going to do some really bold leaf-like patterns, trying not to hurt my hand too much. I've been working so much that my hand is sore. So we're going to do a little bit of that. Just mark this out real quick. Make some gestures. We're going to come back to that. Do some fun stuff. So I have a handy spray bottle, and I'm going to wet that down. I want it to bleed all over the place. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to saturate this paper and let it spread all over the place. And that's that. No, not really. But I like what it looks like. I mean, it's fun. Already it's like a lot of blast. A lot of blast? Is that a thing?
It is today.
It's today for me. And this is just some watercolor from Van Gogh. I have a lot of different Van Gogh colors here, thanks to Royal Talents. And I'm just going to do some very, very bright splashes of the color. Oh, that's beautiful. Let me do a little bit of dot there. Just some gestures. Watercolor is often a little less pronounced, if you will. It's usually not thick, is what I'm saying. I work mixed media, so I fill up a lot of big, thick surfaces. And so I'm just getting rid of some color. Look at that color. I'm going to use this as my blotting page. And then we probably will make something that looks interesting. A little bit of this brown color. Kristen's favorite color, brown.
Yeah. Spurious accusation.
This is Van Dyke. This is very common brown. But what I like about the Van Gogh watercolors is they have a really high pigment load. Very, very pleasant to work with because of that. They have a lot of big strong lines through there. And again, we're going to work that in over here. Because we have, I don't like to waste anything, even watercolors. They go a long way, but I don't like wasting them. That's my little blue. So I have a little palette over here today I'm using. Last week I used that. Today I use that. So bright, so fun. because I'm an abstract artist, I'm going to kind of take this in a direction maybe that is a little less figurative as I go further and deeper into the piece. Kind of reacting very improvisationally. Look how far that color goes.
That's pretty far.
That is a long way. Oh. The Echo line are fun to work with. This is the brush pen here. It's an orange because that's better. And you can use it right into the wet. Do that. I have a bright color. It's just bursts right into it. It's a dye-based watercolor. Yeah, it doesn't quite have the permanence that the pigment-based ones do, but I still think they're so much fun to work with. So why not work with them? You know? Draw right into there, wet into wet. Just having fun today. I hope you're having fun today.
Hi, group today. Anybody have any questions? I have paint on my hand. I'm not even anywhere near this. How did it even happen?
Yes.
Luckily, I went paint colored late, so just rub it in.
Use a little bit of emerald green, I think. Hard to read that. Yep, that's what it is. That's the Van Gogh watercolor. Use this on the leaves. Oh, spilled a little.
Yeah, that happens.
It's spilled a lot. These are big Princeton brush. I love the Princeton brushes. Looking it right in.
Who else out there is painting today? Anybody else painting? Or creating something?
Now we have a lot of extra. We can work it right over. It's already setting up a little. This is probably a little more representational than a lot of my followers see from me, I think. Don't you think?
We do this every year right about now.
It's good. It's spring.
It's not
Spring fever.
It's February.
It's spring fever. Oh, my garden's back, man.
So to us just joining us for the first time, we do this every Sunday afternoon,
This is our new, trying to be our new day.
sometime between 3 and 4 start.
I'm almost out of it. More to cook. Gouache, Royal Talons gouache. Actually has a different name on the top, but I honest to God can't pronounce that name. Let's see if I get it here. Here's the white. Well, the reason I like the gouache is because it does block out very nicely. It has a very opaque type of look to it. I'm looking for a cut. Do some of that here. Echo does have an opaque white. I have to get this up. So they do have an opaque type of white Echo line series, and it's quite fun. There's too many goodies to play with.
Who here is in the US and not watching the Super Bowl? Big game.
Or who will be is another question.
No, I think the big game already started. Like, this is how I would get
Yeah. I really, really like what the gouache does. It creates some very nice blending abilities.
All right, gouache versus watercolor. What on earth is the difference?
Gouache is more opaque. Watercolor is very thin. That's the easiest way to look at it. They're both water-based media. so you can use water to thin them. But the gouache is definitely a more opaque. See how that looks? It just looks fabulous. It's blending right in there. Now I'm gonna put it right in here too. So this is really good paper. We get this question a lot. So this is a 140 pound. This is a hot press watercolor paper. It's 100% cotton.
Cotton red.
Cotton red. You gotta have the cotton part in there. Otherwise, it doesn't. It'll curl. Like right now, if we're working with some of the wood grain or the different kinds of blended types of watercolor paper, this thing would already be cut. Curl
Yeah.
like that. It'd be crazy. Working that gouache in, making some fun opaque areas, and building up layers. You can build up layers with watercolor. I think a lot of people forget that they can do that, or I don't know, maybe they don't want to because it's a lot of fun to have that very thin, ethereal look to it. Just adding some fun little white, carrying the texture or the color around. So I picked up some of the color right there, and I can carry it in, making these fun little petals. It's just fun. Okay, so moving on from the gouache there, I'm gonna take the remainder of the gouache I have, and you can look it up online, difference between gouache and all that. And I've never purported to be an expert in materials. I just want you to create without fear, to just create. Don't get caught up in different material differences. You know, most of us aren't at the stage where, you know, we're $1 million artists making masterpieces. You should play. You should have fun. I think it's a good time to do that. I've done it well. Should we blow this up with some big coloring on that, or just leave that?
No, let's do that to both.
I'll leave that one alone for now. I'll come back maybe with some pencil, some Brutzell pencils there at a later date. See if I can do something kind of fun here using my Rembrandt soft pastels. I can blend that with my heel. Oh yeah, it's fun. That's so fun. Just pulling the color around. Some of the dye. Let's take the green from Ecoline. Oh no. I'm going a little crazy now. Looking for some other colors to add in. Let's try into that. Try this one. Now I'm going to get my big palette knife. Pull that down. Look at that. Come on, that's fun. So we've created this really strong architectural element. We've, the previous layers of the watercolor are kind of set up a little, they dried a little bit. And so when I pulled the dye down over it, the watercolor, that going watercolor, with the watercolor, in some areas took, in other areas it went over and revealed the color below it. I think that's really, really beautiful. I think it's fabulous. Those just look so pretty. So pretty. Oh, I love that piece. I hate to do much more of that one. move that over. I'll save that for a later date to play with. The problem when you're working like this, normally I would just leave these and I would move to a different spot in the studio. But, here we go. Another sheet of paper. I'm not done playing.
No?
Which side do I use? Sometimes there is a difference in side. Okay, let's do the black again. That was a lot of fun. Black. With the watercolor. Maybe we should try a different color start. Let's do this one. And it's nice because if you notice this brush pen, it's pretty tough too. You can make. I like that a lot. That's really fun. Let's just make some squiggles down here because that'll do some interesting things. What is he doing now? Let's put a big old flower up there. It's that time of the year.
You insisted on moving to one of the coldest, snowiest places in the United States, contiguous.
Yeah. I did.
You did.
You went along with it though, so it's your fault too.
What am I supposed to do?
You had a chance.
Not really.
You could have said no. All right.
I don't like large venomous spiders.
Let's soak it down. Yeah, there's not a lot of those here.
Yeah.
Or they have that yellow one. That's kind of,
Oh, that comes off.
yeah. I almost feel like it could be done right now. Look at that. This is what I'm saying though. These water-based, the Ecoline, the Van Gogh watercolors. We got the liquid Ecolines. We got the brush pens, dual brush pens that I've been using. I'm sorry, the brush pens and then the dual tips. So the nice thing on the dual tip is that they have a lot of different colors you can play with. And they have the smaller size and the fatter size. So it's a wedge shape on one side. So it's like you can use it for everything. I'm sure that anything to do. I have a really good water person. All right, so let me find my Brazil pencil, and I think I'll do some more drawing in here. Just drawing right on there. Brazil. Creates a little more depth, a little more texture to play with. Is anybody out there? 2 people? Not too many?
Super Bowl, babe.
Yeah, that's super cool. I know, well, that's our friends are doing that.
Yep. And everybody's doing that today.
I think it's some gestural marks. Because nature is kind of messy, really. You know, it's all the people ask me where the black lines come from. All the big black lines that you see. If you look through the trees, you see those. If you're looking through power lines and grids, you see these black lines that are all over the place. And so I think it's a really interesting thing that we're faced with day in and day out. And a lot of us don't even notice it. I mean, do you notice it? I guess you probably do now.
I always
I'm drawing right through there with this pen. Here. So after a little while, it kind of loses its potency. You can see as I go. That's easy to do. You just get like a towel, or you can go on another sheet of dry the nib out a little bit, or just leave it be. It'll equalize itself out. Orange. This is a permanent orange. This is the Van Gogh. I pre-mixed this before. So I love the oranges. Let's just put that right up in there. Just washing it right in. I'm going to take that color down here. I'll put it right here in this section. And I think we need to put one over here. Create the typical triangle, aesthetic triangle. That's nice. And a lot of paint left in there. So what else am I do? Maybe I should bring it over here a little bit. How about we take a little bit right in here? That I like that. Let's go a little bit behind this one. That's lovely. We'll look at that color in here. See over the gouache. Doesn't absorb as much in the gouache. It makes a really interesting technique when you do that. I would encourage you to play with some gouache someday. It's a lot of fun. Moving some of the color around, picking up some color as I go. The nice thing about watercolor, Kristen, is that unlike my oil paints, if you leave a little pigment in it, it's not going to ruin the brush. I think it's definitely, the oils are a lot more, you have to be more attentive to your brushes, the oils and the acrylic. And right now I'm finding a lot of appeal to the watercolors because I don't have to worry about ruining those brushes. I can just, soak in the water and we're good to go again. And that's really appealing right now because of the fact that we're distracted by the kiddo. Let's face it, he's fine.
Yeah, he's a lot of energy.
He's a lot. And
We've been told by babysitters. I like blue less than
well, this is that Rembrandt soft pastel. This paper is very wet right now, and it's just a lot of fun to work in these colors. Doing some overlap now over here. Constantly amazed by the vibrancy of these Rembrandt soft pastels. I really am. I'm not trying to sound like that. I really love them. It's great. Using my finger, clearly pulling that soft pastel around, mixing it in with the watercolor, creating some weird, interesting little. Bring that down here and create a little blush. Need some green. Need a little more. Pull that right out. Pull that right out. Boom! Look at that. Let's go a little bit here. Trail that through there. Tangle of the vegetation. So we're on our YouTube channel and our other channels, platforms, Instagram, Facebook. There's older videos where we deal with a lot of other kinds of material.
Yeah, we were.
Even now we're still struggling with values. But anyway, my point being is that, as it turns out, there was some have quite confused on. And I'd forgotten how much we had kind of worked with different materials in the beginning, particularly. So collages, art crayons, different acrylics, oil paints, it's all in there. How to or how not to. The case may be. Maybe more of what it was. I kind of want to get really some dark background colors in here, or more. You know, I could use that. No, I don't know. I can use the black. Make a gray out of it. Let's mix that with the white a little bit. Instead of going straight black or straight white, let's see. Helps the waters a little bit. Sum that up. It's a little bit more black than I want, I think. Let's find that white again. Stay. There it is. White gouache. There is quite an interesting history on gouache.
Yeah?
Yeah. If you look it up, I'm not going to try to relay that right now.
Oh, okay. Everybody just look it up.
Just look it up. It is. It's interesting. It's fascinating. That's a nice gray. I like that one. Block this in with some gray now. Ooh, it's so fun when it does that. Take that gray right in there. Be bold. What do we say all the time? Create without fear.
It's our motto.
That is the motto we have. Our son even starts to say that now when he sits down to paint.
There's a lot more. You know, yesterday when he woke up, he wanted this. He spent a half hour making me a flip book.
Yeah, that was cool. I didn't realize that. Sometimes using the opacity of the gouache over the watercolor will create some very nice depth, sense of depth. You can come back in later with the markers, the watercolor markers you draw on it. You can also fix the watercolor and then do other acrylic markers over the top of it. So I like to use Degas Fixative, which is from Spectrafix. And it's on a spray bottle. Spray for the more expensive bottle. I don't know where it is here. Because this comes up all the time. This is a really a little more expensive spray bottle. It's worth it. Use thin layers, fill it up. It's almost do something like that. Just little explosions of gray. That's interesting. Make it, make it. Now, used to say you have to do it like that. You can take it under the brush and draw in, make some gestures, pulling the color around. Whole body. Kind of fun. On using the back of the pen, or back of the brush, pulling the colors, making, kind of defining in an abstract, quick way the different forms. It's like a little rusticated painting too. That's just, it's my preference. Something a little more rustic looking. I think there's plenty of people that are extremely skilled when it comes to doing these watercolors or very realistic or very, the skill level is very high. I have to acknowledge that I am not that kind of painter. And so you have to recognize yourself what kind of painter you are, or what kind of artist you are, and work within those parameters. And once you come to terms with that, having a level of acceptance, I think it's so much easier to just paint. You get a lot less stressed about it. You know, you get a lot less anxiety about painting or creating any artwork for that matter. Now I'm drawing in some more shapes, like shapes. Be careful with my fingers.
You got any lessons today?
A couple times. My hands. But you know how it is.
I do.
And we were a long time in here today.
There you go.
Yeah, we were painting a long time.
That would work.
Yeah, I don't know if you noticed the sun over there.
No, I
It's really cool.
did above when I was. Yeah, it's in these building two-dimensional sculptures. I thought it was kind of-
Yeah. I mean, I've been definitely playing with that as well. So defining it a little bit, and I'll come back in later too, and maybe put some more layers on top of these. It's a lot of fun to do this. No questions today, huh?
Yep. 10 minutes.
We've been doing it for only 10 minutes?
No.
Drawing little circles, little things, little interesting. I like to discover things in the paintings. So that's why a lot of times there might be something you go, what was that for? And the exact reason of that is why it's there. So you go,
This is just a videographer perspective from the back end here. The most true to life coloring that you guys are seeing is actually on TikTok.
Really?
Instagram punches it way up, and so does YouTube.
No kidding.
It's interesting.
Well, look, I'm putting some graffiti on. Because I can't do it, and I have to do it like this.
Compulsion.
It's like a signature thing. Let's do it this way. Now we can actually do something like this stuff too. And this is exactly how I print the peanuts. Gripping this stuff way too tight.
Just stop doing that.
I'm not actually gripping it quite as tight as that. And notice I'm not using this finger. And a lot of times, like they're around here, there's peanuts, right? And most of them. So I will work this and I'll set it aside, I'll walk over there, wander over there, look at the plot piece, I will go over there, the big giant one. You know, so that to me is how I work best. Some people sit, focus on one particular piece for a long time, and that's what they're working on. And I think that's great. I've always kind of wanted to be able to do that. I am too distractible. It's just in my nature. I think it's that ADD sort of background that I have and like personality. Clearly. So all over the place. It's just everywhere. These are very interesting pieces. I have a tendency to overwork these a lot. We want to do one more quick one, really?
You can, but you know, it's up to you.
We will say that. We do some reels. We're gonna do some content shooting. So we'll talk to you guys again soon. It's been a lot of fun showing you some more techniques with watercolor. I think you should definitely play around with it more, see where it leads you. Remember, create without fear. Have fun with these things. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks a lot, and take care of yourselves. Bye bye.